Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Out of the Ring podcast on a beautiful Saturday morning. I appreciate you all getting up with us today and joining our show. We have a really good show today, right?
Yep.
We have a good show today. We're going to answer some questions.
Yep.
We're going to start off with a new kind of segment today to start the show. Every week we're going to wear a new wrestling shirt and kind of show it off a little bit. So this week I have the original Cactus Jack Mick Foley wanted shirt. I'm sure you've probably seen these 1,000 times. Joseph actually has a custom shirt. He has his favorite color, orange, his Malachi black. The reason he's wearing Malachi black today is because after when we're done this show, we're actually going to be headed down to Six Flags. And yep, thank you for joining us, Charles. We'll be talking about you a little bit later. I appreciate you joining us today. But a little bit later, when this show's over, we're heading down to Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey, and we're going to be meeting Malachi Black,
And
Sammy Guevara, Eddie
Kingston.
Yep. Mickey James. They're going to have a huge wrestling event down there at Six Flags today where they're wrestling for free, which is the price of admission. So we're headed down there today afterwards. That's why he's wearing the shirt.
Are you coming down to my house to pick me up so I can go or no?
So you live too far, right?
What? I have my wrestling shirt on. It's called the Sriracha Guy. But, I mean, I can go too, little Joe, if you want me to go. You want me to go?
Say another one.
No.
There is a big one coming up in August that we should all try to go to. It's a really good show.
Yeah,
the main event is Bubba Ray. Remember Bubba Ray, Team 3D?
Bubba Ray. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know what's on the show? Ken Shamrock.
What? Ken Shamrock?
Yep.
Shamrock?
And the British Bulldog's son is actually fighting Ken Shamrock.
Oh, man, that is insane right there. That is insane. Oh.
Yeah. Don't get me started. So I think this was a pivot. Scott. Joseph, you didn't notice this as you were sleeping last night, but last night on SmackDown, Roman Reigns beat Matt Riddle for the belt. And guess who came out and beat up Roman Reigns? Who do you think? Who has Roman fought every single time so far, over and over and over again?
I think because
Brock
Lesnar. I knew it.
Yep.
Because he got off of his team.
Yep, they're not friends anymore. But if a 4-year-old knows that it was coming, everyone knows it was coming. It's a little tired out at this point, Scott. I agree. But it was a from what I'm reading, it was a pivot because that was supposed to be Randy in that situation. Randy was, and it made sense. Roman and the Bloodline beat down Riddle. Randy comes out for the save. You have a match at SummerSlam. From what I heard, though, Randy's injury, I believe it was a neck injury, was actually – it is a damn rerun. Yeah, I agree. But Randy's injury was actually worse than originally thought, and they're saying it could keep him out upwards of a year. Well, if that's the timeline, obviously he's not available for SummerSlam. So I think I'm not entirely pissed because this was a great pivot. They could have gave Roman some bullcrap thing. Instead, they pulled out the checkbook and paid Brock some money to kind of have still a bigger match at SummerSlam.
Right. I didn't think it was going to be that long. I didn't think it was going to be that long, Joey. I didn't think it was like reported that bad though.
Yeah, but when you come with the neck, Uncle Charles, right? When it's that neck and when it's that, it's you've been in the business that long. I think any injury could be.
You know,
last.
yeah, you know me for a long time, Joey. I had a cervical plate fusion in my neck in '09, and I still feel it now. And that's just like, Daniel Bryan, when he had that injury, I was surprised he came back so, well in tuned as well. It's
Yeah,
insane.
look at Paige. Paige
Yeah,
is what?
right.
Paige is a young under 30. I was saying that, Scott, last night. I was saying, please, Rock. I was like, Dwayne, please come out. And it would made sense for The Rock to come out.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. He has Black Adam coming out. It'd been great to promote the movie if he came out.
Mhm.
I think it's happening, but it's not going to happen yet. They're saving that for WrestleMania.
I wish
If you start it now in June, it's too long of a drag out until April. I think
Mhm.
they started. If it's in like February, April, we probably see The Rock come back like December-ish, maybe around Rumble time, maybe,
Wow.
and build to that. So I think The Rock's coming back.
Wouldn't the best time for him to come back, Joey, be like WrestleMania? Because I mean, that's the biggest,
Yeah, so
wouldn't that
WrestleMania is February, April-ish around that time. So I'm predicting like they're giving him like 3 months to build, maybe. So like December-ish, like after Rumble.
Okay. Yeah, I hope he comes back. He's my favorite one of all time. I mean, I think he's a showstopper to me, on the mic, everything as well. He's the total package to me. And I think that if he comes back, that would be huge.
Are you excited for The Rock to come back
Yep.
and fight Roman?
Yeah, and CM Punk broke his leg.
Yep.
He broke his leg?
Well, they didn't say what it was, but it was something in the leg.
Yeah. Hey, Joey, little Joey, what does The Rock say? What does he say? He says something. He's doing something. What does he do? What does he say?
What the? I don't know.
Yeah, you were saying it. If
I know,
you
little Joey.
What the Rock is cooking.
Where you going? Sit
There
over
we
the camera.
Hey, Scott, how you doing, man? I'm good. Thank you, man. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it a couple days ago, man. Thank you. God bless you as well.
Just asking a question. Yeah, so I mean, we have a good show today. We're gonna talk about Forbidden Door. We had some matches at it recently. Also, going to talk about Vince and that whole debacle, and then we're gonna finish out the show with some questions. Paul got some questions for us. See our wrestling knowledge. Stop, Benny, and we're gonna go from there. Good morning, Scott. You don't gotta say good morning. You blessed us with your presence today, this bright early morning. So that's good enough for us. You don't gotta apologize or say you forgot or anything. I appreciate you joining us this morning. We gotta get you on the show one time, Scott. You seem like you're very knowledgeable at wrestling. One week we'll definitely get you on the show. But yeah, Forbidden Door. We had some great matches at it. We've seen Orange Cassidy return, Joseph's favorite, and fighting Will Ospreay. That is going to be a great match.
That's what the IWGP championship, right, Joey? Is that what that one is?
That's Jay White. That's the IWGP champion. He hasn't said who he was going to verse yet. He told Adam Cole, "It's not you." He told Mommy's on the show. She's my favorite little man. He told Adam Cole, "It's not you." He told Hangman Page, "It's not you." So it's like at this point, are we getting a Kenny Omega return? Is it going to be Kenny Omega versus Jay White for the belt?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I mean, when Kenny first went out, it was supposed to be a 6-month turnaround. I think he's been almost out around that time. So this could be the spot where we see him return. That would be huge.
Right.
We then also got the news that Okada probably won't be on the show, which is, I think, a huge hurt because Okada, like we said last week, is probably the best wrestler in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were talking about we kind of penciled Okada into that match,
right?
Regardless, and we didn't even take into account that Jay White was probably going to beat him for the belt, which ended up happening. Scott, there is breaking news as of Thursday night. No one has confirmed it in the WWE, but as of Thursday night, Sasha Banks was released by the WWE.
Yeah, right. It was all over her Twitter account. Yeah.
So we'll see if that's true. No one in high rankings has confirmed that yet, but as of Thursday night, there was reports going around that Sasha was released, which wouldn't shock me. You got to think, I mean, with all the high character people who've been jumping ship from the WWE to AEW, this would be the biggest signing probably for AEW, for the simple fact that she definitely jumpstarts your women's division. She would bring some legitimacy to that women's division in AEW. Not saying AEW doesn't have a good women's division, but she'd bring. What do you think about that yourself? Sasha Banks in AEW.
Yep.
That'd be pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I agree, Little Joe. I think it'd be cool. I love Sasha Banks.
Speaking of women's in AEW, we also found out we're going to see Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa
Right.
at Forbidden Door. There was some interesting news that came out this week about Thunder Rosa. There was reports that she was being kind of stiff with her match last Friday. She was kind of not cooperating. She was kind of going, they call it going in business for herself during that match, and was kind of making her opponent look bad. And if you watch that match back, there is definitely some times in that match where stuff that she's doing makes you wonder, like, what's going on here? Like, what is this? What's going on during this match? So I wouldn't deny it that she was doing that. And then also around like Wednesday night, a picture came out of her and the person that accused her of like sandbagging the match, shaking hands. If Thunder Rosa didn't do that, I don't think she would go out of her way to apologize. You know, like it makes you think like maybe she was intentionally, sandbagging the match, and this is her way of being like, no, this isn't me. Like, it was a one-time thing. But that was an interesting snippet that came out also. And I thought Thunder Rosa wasn't like that, so I kind of look at her differently now after this. But that's going to be a great match too, Toni Storm and Thunder Rosa. And then also last night, there's nothing yet about Bray. When Edge was saying they had another person for Judgment Day, I thought that was going to be Bray there. I think it's going to be soon. I don't know how likely it is that it's WWE, just for simple fact of all the reports coming out about how he was treated and how he acted behind the scenes. I would think it would probably be Impact or AEW. I mean, Impact has a Impact show we haven't really talked about much, but they have a huge show tomorrow night. If he was going to return on Impact, I would say it would probably be tomorrow night. So keep an eye out there, maybe. But I think it could show up anywhere, honestly. Whoever opens the paycheck and shows him the money is where he's going to go.
Joey, let me ask you real quick. If Bray Wyatt does come back, I mean, he's a man of many faces. Am I correct? With that one, how he wrestles as a character. What kind of character does he come if he comes over to AEW's venue? What kind of character does he come back as?
I think you have to say with the Fiend. I mean, the Fiend. Bray Wyatt is a big character, right? And he's had many faces, and he was very successful in all of them. But I think that from a merchandise standpoint, from a figure standpoint, because AEW sells T-shirts. AEW is a huge merchandise mover. From a view standpoint, I think Bray Wyatt as the Fiend, he can't be the Fiend in AEW, but Bray Wyatt as the Fiend is what is going to cause you to open your checkbook. Because don't get me wrong, Bray Wyatt's a great talent, but you get a juice. But soda at 8:00 in the morning. But Bray Wyatt as the Fiend is what is the reason you're opening the checkbook. So let's not get it wrong here.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about this? Scott Sheldon says that WWE was always pushing people away. I mean, do you think that's just the culture now of WWE? And
I don't know if it's the culture. I think that they have such a bloated roster. They have, you have you have NXT, you have Raw, you have SmackDown, you have developments where you don't even have the people on the show yet. When you have that many employees, it's kind of hard to keep them all under the paycheck or the pay. I'm drawing a blank there with that word, but it's hard. Payroll. It's kind of hard to keep you under that payroll. And then add in the fact that WWE lost that extra revenue in ticket sales. During the COVID and stuff. So it just got to be hard. And I also think, I mean, you hear about it in all wrestling business companies, but WWE is very political in the back. It's who you know and whose back you scratch and who, so from what I was reading, Bray wasn't really in tune with that. He wasn't really a fan of that, the political ass kissing that went on in the backstage. So that caused him and Vince to collide heads and not really be too friendly with each other, which is shocking because Vince is usually very good. I can't hear you, Paul. I can't hear you, Paul. Can't hear you. I don't know what's going on. Can you hear either of us, Charles? You can hear me? So, Paul, they can't hear you.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear Paul. So, Paul, something. They're saying they can't hear you, Paul. So, yeah, so getting back to what we're talking about, we had technical difficulties there. We're going to get that fixed and we'll get that corrected. But getting back to Bray, he wasn't really that ass kisser, like that back roll political type thing. So he really wasn't. He was colliding heads with Vince a lot. They were saying, which is shocking for the simple fact that Bray Wyatt is a second generation superstar. His dad was the IRS, so it's shocking because Vince usually takes care of those wrestlers. So that was shocking. But getting back to Forbidden Door and the matches that we had announced so far, Forbidden Door, last night we got another match, tag match. FTR, Rocky Romero, and Trent versus the United Empire from New Japan. New Japan belts are on the line. Ring of Honor's belts are on the line. Winner take all. So that's going to be interesting also.
Yeah, Joey, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. We're good.
Right. Sorry about that, gentlemen. We had a little technical difficulties last night. My niece was playing Minecraft to get on my computer, and my battery died on my headset here. So I appreciate it. I'm sorry about that, guys.
No, okay. It was fixable. It was something that we knew was wrong, so that was good. But yeah, talking about that match, I'm not sure if you saw last night, Paul. It was actually announced a winner takes all match. The Ring of Honor belt, Ring of Honor tag team belt, and the New Japan tag team belt all on the line at Forbidden Door. Winner takes all. So that's going to be interesting. Are we going to see? Because are we gonna see some New Japan guys in Ring of Honor, or are we gonna see FTR in New Japan? That's gonna be interesting also because you can't have every belt switch companies. Remember we were talking about before the AEW might go to Japan, the IWGP might come here. You can't have every belt switching company. It's just impractical, So we'll see. That's interesting. And then something that we weren't really going to talk about this week, but I wanted to mention real fast was the Young Bucks Wednesday. I'm not sure if you watched that match. That match, the ladder match on Wednesday was great. And then they won the belts.
Yeah, I did see that.
I don't know if you saw on Twitter afterwards. So afterwards, Jungle Boy, Jake Perry, his mom and sister were sitting ringside, right? And the next day was Jungle Boy's birthday. So after Christian beat the living crap out of Jungle Boy, when the TV went off the air, he actually went over to his mom and sister and started talking crap. His sister gave him the finger and was like, "F you," like getting angry. And Christian actually was like, "Your son's a piece of shit. I'm gonna have him eating out of a straw tomorrow with his birthday cake. Your son's a piece of shit." And the AEW cameras called it. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm kind of over Drew with the belt. We had that whole almost year plus run with Drew as the belt. I'm kind of that whole Scottish warrior type thing has kind of run its course on me. I would love to see him just go back to being like this just dominant heel character where he's just a total douchebag and just like runs rampant, kind of like a Roman character right now. I wouldn't mind seeing that from Drew. I think that more fits his look. Like this nice guy Drew. I'm not really a fan of it. I don't know why. It just doesn't really click with me. I don't know how you feel about Drew.
And I feel the same way. I mean, he's had his run, so I completely agree with you that one.
Yeah, I just think that nice guy, like goody type thing. Doesn't really fit his character. Doesn't really fit his look. And I just think he would be a perfect heel, like just
Right.
wreck everyone type of deal. Like he'd be perfect in the Roman role right now. I think. Don't get me wrong, Roman's doing great in that role, but I think he would be a great just enforcer type role also. But yeah, get it. Forbidden Door. I mean, the reports that came out last night were on Wednesday night. There's going to be a lot of New Japan people on the show on Wednesday night to finalize some matches. So we'll get to see who's challenging Jay White for the belt, and then we'll also get to see the rest of the matches, and then so that'll be interesting. And then we also had this news come out this week, bombshell news. I mean, how about blockbuster breaking news? Vince McMahon. Supposedly the story goes, where's Duff? I don't know. Wasn't he on the show a couple weeks ago? He came out, him and Bobby Roode came out and attacked someone, I think.
I'm not sure. I remember that. I have no idea about that.
Attacked someone.
Mm-hmm.
They super kicked someone a couple weeks ago. I remember that. I don't know who it was, but they did do it. But Vince McMahon this week. Holy crap. The reports came out was that because WWE is a publicly traded company now, so every piece of financial money that comes in and out has to be shared. So there were reports that came out that the shareholders found a $3 million payment that Vince McMahon made, and they did some investigation and digging, and it turned out that Vince had an affair with an ex-WWE employee, and that Vince paid her $3 million to keep it hush-hush. So pretty much Vince gave her $3 million hush money to keep this quiet. Now, the only thing is like it's horrible. But from what I'm reading, it was Vince's $3 million personal money. Like it was his own money, not from WWE's money. If that's the case, like, yes, it was horrible business practice. But what I'm not understanding is why it was the shareholder business, what Vince was doing with his own personal $3 million. That makes sense to me. So I wanted to read a little more into if it was possibly that it was WWE's money. Then that's a huge, even bigger thing. If he's paying people out with WWE's money and not his own personal money. Right. But if it's his own personal money, what he did was horrible, but I'm not sure why it's a shareholder issue. You know what I'm saying? Like why, if it's your own money, doesn't matter what you're doing with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so the increase for the person who we paid off. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and then
do you think the name is going to come out of who it was? Do you think that'll ever be released, or is that just something that we're never going to hear? Who do you think it was?
It wasn't a superstar. It was a paralegal person. So it doesn't really matter who it was. I mean, at this, like, the name probably is already out there, but it's a nobody, so it's not going to be like breaking news. Oh my God, Vince cheated with such and such, So that doesn't really matter. But I thought it was interesting that then Friday morning you wake up to the news. So that happened Wednesday. Yeah, non-disclosure. And John Laurinaitis, who is head of talent relations, is actually the Bella twins' stepdad. He was involved in it also. He played a big role in that. So I'm curious what's going to happen to him.
I was reading it to Joey, and they were saying something like Vince McMahon passed him off to John Laurinaitis like a rag doll or something like that. Is that
which is crazy. And there was actually a picture circulated on Facebook or something like it's not fun unless the homies are involved or something like that. A picture of Vince, which was like horrible.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, and then it came out Friday morning that Vince was stepping down as CEO and head of WWE. They were sharing them. That's wild. It was, hopefully it was, and I'm not trying to like get into this like because but hopefully it was an older person. Because you imagine a younger chick like having to deal with them too, like I just can't even imagine. But but Vince stepped down. But here's the interesting about that part. Vince stepped down as CEO and head of WWE, but he still stayed on as head of creative. It was younger. Oh man. Vince stepped down as CEO and stuff, but he's still backstage every week as head of creative for WWE, which is like, is this kind of just like a figure thing? Don't disrespect Linda like that, Charles. She's been through a lot in this company.
She's still hot.
She's been through a lot in this company. She's had to go through a storyline where her husband beat the crap out of her daughter. Like, she's been through a lot. Let's give her some slack. Yeah. But he's staying on as the head of creative, which is a little shocking. And then last night he showed up on SmackDown, came out and pretty much. Have you ever seen Wolf of Wall Street?
What's that? Yes.
Wolf of Wall Street. So you know the spot where Leo is supposed to retire. So Stephanie, we'll get to that. We'll get to Stephanie. But have you ever seen the spot where he's supposed to retire? He says, "I'm not effing leaving. I'm not going anywhere."
Right.
That reminds me of what Vince did last night. That was literally the exact scene Vince did last night in Raw on SmackDown. Yep, that's exactly what he did, Charles. He did that yesterday on SmackDown. I'm not leaving. Like, he came out and said, "You see those words, then, now, forever, together? Like, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do this together." And then he literally dropped the mic and left. It was literally like, "I'm not effing leaving." Like, that was literally what he did yesterday on the show, which was okay.
Let me ask you this real quick. You know, Vince McMahon is the face of the WWE. Of course, he's been there from day one. He's built this up to $1 billion company, you know, with that name. If something ever happened to him, Joey, where he actually had to bounce out of here and really had to get away from it, what would happen to the company? Do you think it would surpass where it's at now, or it would decline ratings wise, money wise, venue wise? What do you think would happen?
I think I don't think it would really fluctuate much. It might decrease, I would think, just because Vince has that drive to blow it up. You know, Vince.
Okay.
I didn't notice the announcer, Charles. I had to watch that back. But it was a little sickening. Like, talking about what Charles was, it was a little sickening last night. Like all these reports came out. No wrong. Like, he's not like he like raped this chick or anything like that. But like, he still like did things to her and then like paid her off pretty much. People are like bowing down to him and stuff. It's like it almost gave me like a little bit like cult feeling yesterday. Like, this is like a cult. Like, they're going like this to Vince and they're like clapping for him and they're shaking his hand. Like this dude had a huge story come out where he paid someone off. Oh, okay. I mean, he's no longer the chairman though, Charles. Now the chairwoman, right?
Yeah.
Stephanie McMahon's in charge, which I thought was going to happen eventually anyway. I thought it would have been Triple H, not Stephanie. But I don't think Triple H can physically do that anymore. To stand out of his heart, you know, he has like a machine in his chest now.
Right, yeah.
He was heart pumping, so he can't physically do that anymore. But I think if Vince stepped away, I think it would still be in good hands. You'll have Stephanie and Triple H take over. So I think it would still be in good hands. But I also wouldn't be shocked if when Vince stepped away, no, you can't have them turn heel. They're the biggest, some of the biggest baby face crowd poppers that you get when they come out. You know, the crowd always seems to get hyped for them. WWE never really gave them like a strong run, I feel.
Yeah.
But talking about what we were saying about like what's going to happen, I think they'll still be okay, but I do think they might not get the option of it going to the. No, and Charles, I get that you can be thankful for that, but like to bow down to the dude after knowing the reason he's coming out to speak, like, so they are bowing down before he even came out to talk, knowing what he's going to be talking about and bowing down to him before that. That to me was like, like that just seemed like cringeworthy a little bit, you know, like let's hear what he has to say first before we're bowing down to him, you know. That was just my take. Right. But getting back to what you're saying about what would happen if Vince, I think the McMahons would step away entirely. WWE, like we said, WWE is a publicly traded company now, so the shareholders hold a little bit of rights. I wouldn't be surprised if they sold someone.
Wow.
I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't. McMahon's have been doing it.
Do you think? Right. Do you think it would be a beneficial? Do you think it would be beneficial or not, Joey?
No.
If the McMahons totally stepped down. Okay.
Because here's the thing, Vince. We can give WWE shit all day about their creative and stuff like that, but Vince always has the best interest of the company in mind, of the wrestling company in mind. I don't think that, like, just say like NBC, because WWE owns Peacock, and then because WWE owns Peacock, and then Peacock owns NBC. So I would think NBC would probably be the logical company to buy them. So,
wow.
I think if NBC bought them, it would just be another
Mhm.
kind of show in their branch. They wouldn't really give it as much attention as Vince does. And I just think that would be a huge downfall to WWE. Like,
Mhm.
I don't want to see a day where Vince, like, we give the McMahon shit all the time, but I don't want to see a day where the McMahons aren't in charge. But I think
Yeah.
that could be the start of the end of professional wrestling on a national stage. I think it will still last with the indies and stuff like that, but I think the day Vince sells WWE is the downward trajectory of the wrestling business overall.
All right. Yeah, I was just wondering, as a fan, Joey, it would benefit if they did not benefit if they stepped down, but what the potential would look like, going to a different genre of ownership, a different look, just overall venues of everything. So
yeah, because you think if a company like NBC bought it, it would probably go on like an NBC channel. Like, I think USA's NBC, so I think it would stay on USA and stuff. But you have to wonder, like, are they gonna, like, we'll never get back to the 90s. We'll never get back to that type of company if NBC buys it. I still hold out hope that AEW pushes WWE so close to in terms of ratings, that they have to go back to that point. I'm still holding out hope that we get to that point again. Competition, I say it all the time, competition is the best driving force to make you be better. So I'm still holding out hope that they get more edgy because AEW is doing so well. Could happen. We'll see.
Right.
But if Vince sells to like NBC or something like that, they're not going to give a crap what AEW is doing. It's not going to be an active war, So I hope that doesn't happen, just because I think it'll be the beginning of the end.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know there's a big event coming up pretty soon, Joey. Am I correct?
SummerSlam, yes.
Yeah, SummerSlam, and then Money in the Bank is pretty much before.
Well, I mean, Money in the Bank is a big event, but you have 4 really huge events at WB. It's Survivor Series. That's exactly what it is, Charles. They got complacent. They went too long without any competition. Now they're getting competition. They're still doing the same old shit. They're still doing Brock and Roman. Like, we need to see fresh, new angles, and we're not seeing that. But SummerSlam, and you're talking about SummerSlam, Money in the Bank first, but SummerSlam is one of the key 4s. You got Survivor Series, you got SummerSlam, you got Royal Rumble, you got WrestleMania. They're the 4 key pay-per-views. If I had it my way, they'd be the only pay-per-views. I feel like we have too many pay-per-views with WWE. Yeah, I agree. But Charles, if you remember, people don't forget this. TNA at one point was getting 3 million views a week. So there was competition. I mean, TNA was getting 3 million views at one point. At their highest point, they're getting close to 3 million views. That's unheard of now in the wrestling business. And we're going to talk about Austin Theory right now, Scott. We're talking about SummerSlam. I'm not a huge fan. I think he's great in the ring, but I don't like this character. I don't like this gimmick. I was a huge fan of Theory when he was in the Revive show. I'm not a huge fan of him now. I don't like this dude who takes selfies, and I don't like this. I mean, he's a great wrestler. He's great on the mic, but this character just doesn't do it for me. We're probably going to see Theory, Cena at SummerSlam. We've been saying this for over 2 months now. Before Cena was even reported coming back, we were saying we're going to get Cena Theory. So it looks like our prediction is going to be right, Paul. We'll see in 2 weeks, but we've been saying it here first. So if you want the inside scoop, check us out here, because we definitely give it to you.
Now, SummerSlam is bringing back a guy called Brock Lesnar, as we talked off screen. What do you think about that, Joey? I mean, he's a huge name. Just like we talked about, there's always that big character in the back room where if we need to bring him out, he comes back. And to me, that's Brock Lesnar. How do you feel about that? I mean,
he's a huge name. He's going to sell tickets for SummerSlam. He's going to, if they haven't sold out yet, they're at the Titans Stadium. They have a lot of tickets to sell. They haven't sold out yet, so he's going to sell more tickets. He's going to get more views on Peacock. I just wish it was against someone else. I'm just so tired of Roman Brock. I feel like we've seen that at, I think, 4 Manias now, 4 Mania main events. Remember, we had last Mania. We had the Mania where Seth Rollins cashed in the Money in the Bank. And then there was 2 more in between there where it's just like, at this point, it's just like, move on. Like, we can't find anyone else to feed Brock to. Like, it's just so, like, it's almost boring. Like, I was saying last night, I'm in a group chat like for wrestling, and I was saying in the group chat, so that match, Roman versus Riddle, ended at 9:54, right? I was like, yeah, but here's the thing, Scott. So is Roman at this point. Roman's a part-timer also at this point. You put both belts on him in hopes that he'd be on both shows, and now he's barely on one show. Makes no sense to me. But I was saying last night, there's match ended at like 56, right? And airtime on Fox, you're going to that last very second. So you weren't just going to have filler for 4 minutes. I was like, something else is happening here. Someone else is coming out. There's no way you end the match at 56 and you just end it with him standing in the ring and that's it. And then sure enough, Brock's music's hit. And I was like, God damn it. Like, yeah, I'm hyped to see Brock back. You're always hyped to see Brock whenever you can because he's such a athletic freak and he's such I'm a huge Brock Lesnar fan, don't get me wrong. I love Brock Lesnar. He's my favorite wrestler. I love him in the UFC. Like, he caused me to become a huge UFC fan. It was Brock
me too.
in the UFC. But I'm just so tired of it. I'm just so tired of this feud. Because when you put Brock with a smaller guy, he puts on amazing matches. Like, watch Brock versus AJ Styles from a couple years ago. That match is incredible. When you give Brock someone who can go in the ring, Brock goes. Like, Brock can go in the ring. So I really wish, like, we didn't have him fight Roman and we just see literally there's 4 moves total in that match. You'll see an F5, you'll see a spear,
suplex.
You'll see a body, you'll see a suplex, and you'll see a Superman punch. That's the 4 4 moves you'll see combined. Yeah. You'll see 4 moves, and that's it. They'll do them 10 times each, but you'll only see 4 moves. It's just tiring.
Yeah, how many times can you go down Suplex City? Like, how many times is this going to happen?
And I love Suplex City, but you can't have him fighting a guy who only does a spear and Superman punch also. You have to have him fight someone like an AJ Styles or a Finn Balor, where they have these arsenal moves. Because it's all about, like, when you have these 2 just monsters fighting each other, it's like, okay, we're tired of this. But when you have someone who's a little bit smaller and it's like a battle, like, oh my God, can they even knock him on the floor? Forget winning. Can they even take him off his feet? It just adds to the storyline. So that, to me, is just like tiring. But yeah, I mean, if you have a SummerSlam,
speaking of SummerSlam,
the 2 top matches are Brock, Roman, Cena, Theory. That's going to sell tickets just because of Brock and Roman and Cena. That's going to sell you tickets. It's going to get you views. So they're definitely doing it right with getting people to watch. And I'm interested about the Cena Theory match. I'm interested to see if they're going to have Theory win and he's going to be pushed as a huge megastar, because that's going to be interesting to me. I could see it. I could see him beating Cena and then them making him a huge star.
Okay. Now, Joey, let me ask this as a fan. I'm old school. And is there any way, a possibility that at SummerSlam, the glass breaks and my guy comes out stone cold? Is there any chance of this, Joey?
Never say never. I never thought I would see him wrestle a match again.
That's what I mean.
And then at WrestleMania, he put on a incredible match. I never thought I was going to see him take a bump on the outside of the ring, and he did. I thought when they set up that Owens Austin angle, I thought they would come out, they would do promos against each other. Austin would stun them, and they send people home happy. Right. And they gave us a 10-minute match where they went all over the arena. Like, that was crazy. So I would never say never. Okay. I wouldn't be shocked if Austin did one more match. Honestly. I don't think it would be a surprise match. I think it would be something where they built up a little bit and, like, promoted the hell out of it to get more views. Kind of like WrestleMania. But never say never. Never, ever. I mean,
Joey, would it be the biggest, grandest stage that, we're talking about The Rock and everything. Hey, he has a new movie coming out. So what better way to promo him? Do you think it's ever possible that these 2 clash for one final night, Stone Cold and The Rock? Do you think that'll ever happen? Because I believe if that happens, my God, this is pay-per-view worthy of $1 million viewers. Do you think that'll ever happen, Joey, or no?
So I don't know if it would be a one-on-one type match. I don't know if they could physically do it anymore. Like, don't get me wrong, they're both in great shape. They're both can still go in the ring, but I don't know if WWE is willing to take that risk of
Okay.
these two older haven't wrestled in years guys doing one-on-one. If we were going to see them in a match again, I think you'd see like a tag type match where you have the younger guys who can handle most of the work,
Right.
and then they'd come in for like 5 minutes, finish the match, and that'd be it. I think that would be how you would see it. Like I said, never say never. We talk about all the time. Competition causes you to raise your game.
It does.
If AEW keeps rising up, I think you could see it. Here's the thing. I don't think if AEW is not a thing, I don't think Austin fights at WrestleMania. But because AEW is there and it's kind of giving WWE run for their money at this point, I think that's why we saw Austin there. But we'll see. I mean, it's going to be interesting nonetheless. But yeah, I mean, it'll be very interesting. We'll talk about SummerSlam more leading up to it and stuff. But you have to think that this main event with Brock and Roman had to have been penciled in for Cody or Randy, and then
I believe it's more for a Cody aspect, like, hey, he went down with the injury they had with the pec. I think the next best thing would be, this fight here, because
the next best thing would have been Randy, Paul, and then Randy got hurt.
Right. So now how long is he out? I was reading articles about him. Now he's out for what, 9 months possibly? Is that what, or career ending most likely, or what?
Who, Randy?
Yeah.
So originally it was a couple weeks. Then I saw 6 months. Then I saw it could be a year. And now Charles just told us earlier on the show that it could be career ending.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, is there a true aspect of how long the time?
I don't think there's a true time frame, not just because of the situation of the injury. I mean, I think it's the one that has to kind of heal up and go and take it slow. Okay. So we'll see, but I'm gonna where's Joseph? All right, well, tell them her we're start asking some questions. Okay, so if you want it, we're gonna switch over to that segment now, Paul. We're gonna ask some questions. Hold off on Joseph's questions for now, because he's in the bathroom, and then when he comes back, we'll ask his questions.
All right, Joey. When I talk about wrestling, I don't know a lot of it. I'm old school. I just got into it again, Joey, and it's great being on the show with you because you like. Listening to you, Joey, you're the type of person that makes people want to get involved in WWE, AEW. So I thank you for that, having me on here. And I did come up with some questions, Joey, as an outside fan looking in here, I'm your co-host, I'm your little sidekick here. But I have just some questions. Let's go to AEW first. I'll ask you some random questions. Now, a lot of people might say, he already knows what I'm going to ask you. Joey, you have no idea what I'm going to ask you. Is that correct?
You were going to send me these questions last night, like answers, and I even said to you, I'd rather be surprised when these questions come up.
All right, well, Joey, I mean, there's not a lot of questions to AEW I'm going to ask you, but I'm going to test your knowledge of some AEW things regarding some matches in the prior, some dates, some history things first. Okay, all right, you ready?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not great with dates. I can probably remember shows, but to get down to the dates, I might fail with these.
All right, I think you go 4 for 4 out there. I think you're going to go. I got 4 questions on AEW. I think you're going to get all 4 here, Joey. All right, the first one, Joey. What year did AEW debut?
So it was right before the pandemic. So it was probably 2019.
All right, is that your final answer, Joey?
It is.
And
no.
Joey, don't second guess yourself, man. I'm just telling you.
I'll say 2019.
Just like Charles said, this guy's a wrestling encyclopedia. So, is that your final answer, Joey?
It is.
The survey says, Joey, you are correct. You are correct.
Yeah, okay. I remember working and like watching the intro shows. They were not intro show, but like the intro press conference they were doing at Las Vegas when they debuted at AEW, and when they did that, I was like, "Holy crap!" So yeah, I remember that very fondly.
There's a question real quick. Here's a comment real quick before we get into the second question. The show in Baltimore. Baltimore.
When you I remember the show in Baltimore. I'm not sure what you're talking about the tour. But me and Lexus went to AEW Full Gear in Baltimore.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a pretty good show. Went to Baltimore and stuff. So that was a really good show. But yeah, I remember the show in Baltimore. I remember talking about the tour though.
Okay, now Joey, going 2 for 2 here. Let's see if you can do it. Who was the very first AEW champion?
I don't know.
Not you. He just give me. That was Jericho.
Okay, little Joey, where you want to go? Who was the first AEW champion?
Chris Jericho.
Oh my goodness, this is why you tune into Out of the Box here. Little Joey and Big Joey, 2 for 2. Joey's 2 for 2. Little Joey is 1 for 1. Automatically, Chris Jericho. All right, let's switch gears here. Who was the first AEW women's champion?
Women's, wasn't that?
Let's little Joey
Rhea?
first.
He's not gonna know.
Okay.
I think that was Rio.
Final answer?
Final answer.
I think it was
3 for 3, Joey. 3 for 3, Joey.
It was Rio. Okay.
All right, we're gonna switch gears to the other side of it. Who was the first tag team champion in the AEW?
Say it yourself. Say what you said.
Young Bucks.
He said the Young Bucks.
Okay, that's your final answer, little Joey. What about your dad? Who's he gonna go with? I mean, you're allowed to. You can't
I
call
don't
a
think it was
friend.
the Young Bucks. I don't think it was the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks lost the private party in that tournament.
Okay,
It wasn't the
You can
Young
ask for-
Bucks.
you can ask for
I'm
one
gonna
clue.
say the Lucha Bros.
You can ask for one clue if you need it. One clue. That's it. I can give you a clue that I don't really know about.
Match, the Lucha Bros won.
You can give us a clue. I think it's the Lucha Bros, but you can give us a clue.
Okay, in California, there's 2 parts. Top
Okay,
and
it was
bottom.
SCU.
There you go. Southern Cal.
Yeah.
Southern California censored. All right, Joey. I'm going to give you the 3.5 because you used.
I actually forgot about that. I actually forgot about them because they were in AEW for so short and they separated.
Right,
I actually
right.
forgot.
Yeah, I
about
was
that.
reading that. Yeah, I was reading that. I was like, I don't know if he's going to get this because it was like a very short tenure. All right, let's move on to WWE. You guys ready for this?
We're ready.
All right. These are more opinionated questions. They're not trivia questions, Joey. They're just, about your fandom, about yourself. Okay. What is the coolest move by a wrestler in WWE, in your opinion? The coolest move out of all the wrestlers?
What's your favorite move? My favorite move would probably be like across the board. Like just you mean in wrestling in general?
In wrestling general, in WWE, of all
I
the
love
superstars,
Pac's. I love Pac's move. That jump off the top rope where they spin like 6 times, like that's incredible to me. But in WWE, I'd probably say Kevin Owens, that pop-up power bomb that he used to do where he pushed him off the ropes and have to catch him midair and slam him. Like that's a hard move to land in the heat of the moment, like the pop-up. Like, that's a hard move to do. So that would probably be my favorite, just from a standpoint of how difficult it is to hit, and he always hit it. What's your favorite move?
And mine is Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns. What is it? The spear, the Superman punch? Which one is it, little Joey?
Superman punch.
Show us what he did. What's he did with a Superman punch?
That is a cool move. You know what? I'm going to change my answer. Now, Joey, when you said the Pac's move, was that like the missile? What do you used to call it back a long time ago? Or something?
Yeah.
Neville's missile. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. But you know what? I'm gonna disagree with you, Joey. I'm gonna go with the Superman punch. Was that right there is just.
I mean, we see it enough, right? It's like the only movie he actually does. So.
Hey, that's why it's his best move. Okay, leave him alone. Okay. Leading on to that one, what is the best finishing move in the WWE?
So I think I kind of did the wrong thing and said the finishing moves. That's my fault.
It's all right.
But the best finishing move, like regardless of difficulty, regardless of that, it has to be the stunner. Just has to be.
Yes,
Or the stunner or the RKO. Both just because it's like out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like the RKO out of nowhere or the stunner out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite?
What's your favorite finishing move?
Come on. Who's your favorite wrestler besides Roman?
AJ Styles.
What's AJ Styles do? The phenomenal forearm, right? Where he pulls his elbow guard down, he goes on the ropes and he jumps off and hits you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loves AJ Styles, so he's saying the phenomenal forearm.
Well, of course, we've already named him the phenomenal little one, so why not? Come on, really,
And I like AJ Styles wrestler, and I'm going to name him the phenomenal one.
That's right.
Yeah, Charles, that move from just a holy crap 1 inch difference could be someone's life. That move always scares me. I mean, whenever Taker's doing it, I never seem to worry because you always know he's going to be doing it responsibly.
Right.
But some of these smaller guys that do the tombstone, I'm like, oh my god, this is going to end poorly, because like the force they hit that with, and then how close, like that just always like causes me to like clinch up a little.
It's like you said, when he does, the Undertaker does it, it's it's going to happen because he's done it millions and millions of times. But when someone else does it, that neck, it just like so much compression that 1 inch, Joey, could be a career injury.
Yeah,
it could, exactly. You could be paralyzed for life.
Yeah,
that to me is insane. But my favorite stunner.
That or I forget what the move's called, the pile driver. That move to me too. That move always freaks me out.
Yeah, Charles, it's 1 inch away from breaking a neck. I mean, Joey, you know me. I've had neck surgery, twice. I got a plate in my neck, and just watching something like that, the cringe of like, my God, if this could happen, like, don't please, that could be serious. But okay, here's my next question: who is the greatest tag team in WWE history?
Oh, that's a hard one. This is very, very opinionated. So if people disagree,
right?
If people disagree, that's fine. See, I think you have to break it up into 2 different genres: current day and then past day.
No, we're gonna go all time, Joey. One time. There's no 70, 80, 90s, 2000s here. Nope, we're going one pick. You can pick one tag team, Joey. One tag team. That's it. Make it hard.
I'm going Legion of Doom.
You know what? It's funny that you said that because aren't they the only like tag team in history to win WWE, WCW, JCP, and AEW or something like that? Aren't they the only ones ever to win it or something like that?
Not AEW. I think it might be NWA.
NWA, that's right.
Yeah, but I mean, they for a while there were just Road Warrior, Animal, like the Legion of Doom, whatever you want to call them, because they kind of switched names a little bit there. But Animal and Hawk, I mean, they were the main event for a while there. They were. You don't normally see that in an era where you have Hogan, you have Flair, you have the Horsemen. I mean, I would say the Horsemen, but they're not. I wouldn't really consider them a tag team. They were more of a stable. But
right.
In an era where you have all these mega stars and you have tag guys main event and shows, that says something. So I would go Hawk and Animal, Legion of Doom. I would say they're me personally.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Really?
I did not know that.
I did not know that either. But yeah, Animal's son was in the NFL for a little while. I think he played at Ohio State, middle linebacker. He was really good.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. You could either go Legion of Doom, or I would even say maybe the Steiners. They were great back in the day. I mean, it's hard to say. If we're talking current day, I'd probably say the Dudleys, Team 3D. They were everywhere. They were WWE. They were the Rams. Yeah. They were WWE. They were Impact. They were ECW. No, they were on top for a while there. So I could say, if I'm saying current day, I'm going with the Dudley Boys. If I'm saying all time, I'm going Road Warrior and Hawk. Animal.
Yeah, I mean, old school overall, I would probably have to go with Legion with you as well. Okay. But to me, just like you said, I love watching the Dudley Boys. Those were just showmen the way they did everything. I still remember him on the top rope when he's jumping down, like,
what's up? Yeah.
To me, it was just something like when he did that, you're like, oh, here it comes. It's happening. Yeah, I go with that one too, Joey. But my next question is,
or get the tables.
Yeah, exactly. Like I remember them in the TLC matches. Like you waited for this to happen. Like to me, that was old school. I enjoyed watching it. But my next question, Joey, what is the greatest rivalry in all time to you? WWE? The greatest rivalry between two people.
I think there's only one rivalry you can say.
Is it going to be Rock and Stone Cold?
Stone Cold Austin, but you could also say, I would even say maybe Austin McMahon was a better rivalry than Stone Cold and Rock.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that one, Joey.
I would say Austin and McMahon, because Austin and the only reason Rock and Stone Cold happened was from Austin McMahon. So I would say Austin McMahon is the greatest rivalry in the history of WWE.
Okay, yeah, Charles agrees.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that put them on the map for a while there. They were losing consecutively. Sun's coming up. Sorry, people.
The light is back.
Yeah, but they were losing 83 weeks. They lost to WCW in the ratings. Like it was looking like a kind of ended a ship type thing for a while there for WWE.
Yeah.
And then they got to the Attitude Era, and Austin McMahon kind of saved them a lot of ways.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Yeah,
it was everyone. That's why it was so big, Charles, because everyone wanted
it was relatable. Like you said, it was relatable, right?
Yep.
I mean, it was just like you go to work, you can't stand your boss, and you're thinking like, oh, guess what? Here it comes. I hope Stone Cold goes out there and stuns Vince McMahon's ass because I can't stand my boss either. It was relatable.
Picturing that as them.
Exactly. They put you in Rock, and Stone Cold's position, like, I'm gonna stun this dude. I'm gonna stun him.
And then even relating it back to work, think about this, like everyone has that brown noser who kisses the boss's ass.
Yeah.
That was The Rock. That was The Rock. That you always want to beat the crap out of them too. And that even made it even more like, okay, this is like real life. You know what I mean? So that I would probably say Austin McMahon.
I was gonna go Stone Cold and The Rock, but seeing it this way, you're right. You opened up my eyes, to this one. I'm gonna have to agree with you and Charles on that one. Definitely are. All right, Joey. 3 more questions, real quick. Who is the greatest in-ring performer of all time?
This is hard. This is really hard.
I have 2, Joey. I have 2 to me.
I have 2 also. Okay. I have Flair and I have Taker.
Oh. Really?
Flair and Taker are the greatest in-ring performers ever.
I got Flair. I did take Flair. But to me, I'm old school, and I went Shawn Michaels. What do you think about that?
Oh, Shawn Michaels is great. Don't get me wrong, but the reason I'm saying Taker just the longevity.
Exactly right.
He was the best wrestler for a while. I mean, it's so hard, Paul. Like you could go Flair, you could go Taker, you could go Michaels, you could go Bret Hart. There's so many names you could say from just an in-ring standpoint.
Exactly.
But I just think the size of Taker, what he could do in the ring, like he's almost 7 feet tall. He could jump over the top rope. Like what 7-footer can do that? Like that for me is just incredible.
I agree with you on that. His in-ring performance, the way he does something his size, Joey. Like our size here, we're pushing. We're heavyweights in our own right, and it's hard to walk a straight line sometimes. And this guy's 7 foot. And I remember when he used to walk the tightrope, Joey.
The ropes, yes.
Like I'm thinking, like, man, if I ever get pulled over for a DUI, I'm not even passing the test where I can walk straight. And this guy,
people always say like do the alphabet backwards. I can't do the alphabet backwards sober.
I can't even do the alphabet straight the regular way, Joey. Like come on, Yeah, I mean, oh yes, like Charles said, he can get in the ring on a 5-star match with anyone. You're right. It's old school, exactly. I mean, but Joey, real quick before I get in my last.
Charles, you tell us. We know you say Taker as 1. If you had to pick 2, who's your second?
You know what, Charles? Give me your top 3, Charles, because we got so many out there. This is a opinionated question, of course. Give me your top 3. If you have Undertaker 1, where do you go 2 and 3, Charles? What do you have? Or anybody else tuning in? Give me your top 3.
If I'm doing 3, I'm doing Flair, Taker.
Yes, Shawn Michaels. Okay.
Charles said Michaels.
Yep, you got Shawn Michaels. And give me one more, Charles. Give me one more out there. Ric Flair. Okay, Ric Flair. So it's pretty much unanimous type. Yeah, I agree with those 3.
Yeah, I mean you can't go wrong either way. And if you want to throw someone in there that's like current day, you could put Brian Danielson in there.
Really,
he's great in ring. You could throw him in there. Maybe Kenny Omega. If you want to do someone currently, I mean WWE is so different. Wrestling's so different now. It's more athleticism. It's more
right.
It's more spots than it is an actual match. So it's so different now. But if you wanted to do currently, you could probably do like CM Punk, maybe like Kenny Omega, one of those guys.
Okay.
But I mean, you can't go wrong. You said it's very opinionated who you think the best is because there were so many.
Right. Yeah, I want to hear your opinion about that. Taker's Michaels at 25 card. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Well, that's the one where Charles. Was that the one where Michaels came down in the Taker outfit from the heaven with the all white?
Joey, real quick, before we go to the last 2 questions, real quick, the opinionated questions. Let me ask you something. Being an Undertaker guy, when he lost his consecutive streak at WrestleMania,
oh my God.
Do you think that was the right thing to do, making him losing his undefeated streak, going out to Brock in that way? Or do you think they should have just said, you know what, we're going to let him go as the only undefeated guy like this ever in history and just let him ride out the sunset? What do you think about that loss?
Me and Charles talk about this to this day.
Okay.
It was such the wrong choice.
Okay.
Me and Charles agreed that should have ended. That he should have lost. He should have lost the streak.
Mm-hmm.
But we always talked about it should have went to someone, a younger star. It could have projected them to the stratosphere, losing that streak. Brock Lesnar was already your biggest star in the company. He didn't need that win.
Right.
You could have Roman at the time. They're trying to build Roman up to be this huge star. Roman could have took that win, made him be the huge star. Bray Wyatt, they want to make Bray Wyatt the new Undertaker. Give Bray Wyatt that win. Let Bray Wyatt end the streak. You have that notch on him. He's a huge star now. CM Punk, let CM Punk beat the streak. That could have been a huge star. Like they just did that horribly. Someone else who needed that rub could have taken it, and they would have been a mega star just because they beat Undertaker.
Okay. Yeah, I was always wondering that, okay, Brock Lesnar was a name, a face, an idol icon in the game already. Why did they do that to him? So, just like Charles said right here, CM Punk should have done it. You're right. I think they did.
That was the greatest storyline leading up to Mania. In recent, outside of the Triple H and Michaels matches, the CM Punk build-up was probably the best build-up with the urn. That was probably the best build-up. I even think CM Punk might have been too. Well, Vince picked Brock, Charles, but Undertaker also agreed with it. Undertaker also agreed to let it be Brock because they're kind of cool behind the scenes. So Undertaker agreed to that. But I just think we talk about this all the time, Charles. It should have been a young guy. I even think CM Punk might have been a little bit too established of a person to do it. Like Bray Wyatt would have been the perfect person. You want Bray Wyatt to be this new sinister villain type character in WWE. What better way than to defeat Undertaker at WrestleMania to take that aura? Charles, we talk about this all the time. Undertaker, since he's retired, is not the same person. Who he is now is not a person we really like to talk about. We talk about this all the time. Let's not get into Undertaker recently, because who he is recently is not the same guy who we watched in the ring. This guy now is we're not gonna get into it, but next question.
All right, next question, Joey. We'll leave that for another episode. That can maybe lead into another episode, Joey, which we'll talk a little bit here. Real quick before here's Charles rebuttaling. The Undertaker goes with whatever Vince says. Okay.
But you don't get to that. And here's the thing we're talking about before, like ass kissing politics. Not saying Taker's an ass kisser, but you don't get to that point in WWE for that long without kind of being a little bit of a brown nose or ass kisser.
Right. Okay.
Charles, wrestler, he's your favorite wrestler. I get that. But as a human being,
Hey, Charles, I appreciate that little intro because that was going to be my next question. You read my mind there. Joey, who is your favorite wrestler? I think you said Brock earlier. I don't know if
he's one of my favorite. Not so much anymore.
Because overall, who's your favorite wrestler?
That's tough. That's Plane Ride to Hell. That's the Plane Ride to Hell, Paul. You have to watch that. They did a documentary on that. It was wild. It's part of that Dark Side of the Ring I was telling you about.
Okay, I'll definitely check that out.
They did Plane Ride to Hell. I mean, it was wild. There's a point where Flair disrobed and was swinging his thing around in front of the flight stewards, and they reported him and stuff. It was a wild plane ride.
What?
Yeah, it was wild.
Oh my God, I got to check that out. Where can I find that at, Joey?
On Vice. If you have the app, Vice TV app.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, on Vice. Or if you have Hulu, it's on Hulu.
Okay.
But my favorite wrestler of all time probably is Ric Flair.
Okay, Ric Flair. Okay.
He can do everything in the ring, and him on the microphone is probably the best person on the microphone ever. Okay. If I'm going current, it's like growing up as a kid, my favorite wrestler was CM Punk.
Okay.
But overall, it's Ric Flair. He's just incredible. If you get a chance, go watch Ric Flair. Type in on YouTube Ric Flair Jay White Impact. So Jay Lethal. Talk about a bad person. Yeah, I know. But Jay Lethal and Ric Flair in Impact. Jay Lethal actually acted like Ric Flair. and Ric Flair lost his mind. It was so good. You have to watch it. It's probably one of the best promos you'll ever see.
Let me ask you real quick. My last question for you is the last question that we're going to do with the rapid fire here. But where does Stone Cold on your list, Joey? Because I got a little story with this one. I don't know if you remember something, Joey, but I'm gonna bring this up. Where is Stone Cold on your list?
That's hard. I would probably say top 5 just for what he did for the business. I mean, he.
Okay.
If we're saying Flair, Taker, Michaels 1, 2, 3, I would say Stone Cold 4, Rock 5, Bret Hart 6. Just for what you have to put Stone Cold and Rock in the top 5, just for what they've done for the business. You know, there was a time where wrestling was 4, just like 4. Stone Cold and Rock saved wrestling. You know, wrestling for a while there, before WCW came along and stuff, wasn't doing too hot.
You know, there was Joey. There was an article released about it was actually about the NBA where they're talking about, you know, all venues of sports, wrestling included. And they said that The Rock and Stone Cold were like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird back in '79 when they came into the NBA.
They definitely were.
The look of it. You know, they revitalized the look of it.
Yeah, definitely were. When you think about it, Bird and Magic saved the NBA because the NBA's ratings were slipping. They were talking about stopping the NBA and canceling it. And then Bird and Magic came and kind of revitalized the sport in a whole. And I think The Rock and Stone Cold did that for the WWE. I mean, they were losing to WCW. It looked like a sinking ship, you know, that was gonna kind of go under soon. And then you had Stone Cold, Austin 316. Stone Cold beat Jake the Snake at the infamous King of the Ring. And at the time, so here's a little backstory I'll give people about that. Austin 316 said, I just kicked your ass, right? Jake the Snake was he had a religious character at that point where he would quote Bible verses. So at King of the Ring, Austin beat Jake the Snake to win King of the Ring. That's where 316 came from, a Bible verse.
I never knew that.
So Jake the Snake would always do like 316 this. So Stone Cold cutting a promo after he beat him said, Austin 316 said, I just whipped your ass.
I never knew that.
That's where that came from.
Okay. All right, Joey, the reason why I asked you where Stone Cold was on your list, I don't know if you remember, guys, a lot of people don't know this. Joey, I used to coach you for many years in Winston-Salem football. On offense,
I'm sure I always talked about it.
Yes, well, you did something, Joey. I don't know if you remember this. You were really young. You played center a lot. You know, Shane was the quarterback. And, you know, being at that age, it was always, you know, like, get the snap up, get your butt up, you know, stop clenching your legs together, open your butt and get the ball out fast so we can get this game going. One time, Joey, a lot of people, probably don't remember this. I said something to you because we're running offense. You were at center. And I said, move the hell out of my way. And I went down and I was like, this is how I want you to snap the ball. Get your butt open, get the ball up faster, and keep your head up automatically. Look forward. Don't look down. Joey, do you remember I don't know if you remember this, but when I snapped the ball, you were in front of me. You stunned my ass.
I don't remember that.
You gave me the Stone Cold stunner. I'm sitting there, you know, showing you I want you to snap the ball. You went in front of me, kneeled down, and you stunned my ass, Joey. I remember this, Joey. Like, I remember that you literally stunned my ass on the field. And I was like, are you kidding me? And then you're laughing. And you was like, I just stunned you. And I don't know if you remember that, Joey, but
I don't remember that.
It's in my mind, Joey. It really does. Those were the times that I'm like,
yeah, I feel like when we were at your house, it would either be like we were watching wrestling or we were watching horror movies.
Exactly. You already know me, Joey. Exactly. It was always wrestling.
You would literally, we'd be going, it would be like August, and you would already be picking out what haunted house we'd be going to, and you'd be watching the walkthroughs on YouTube and stuff. I'm like, this dude's wild.
Yes, I know. In August, like we're even in like early August, we're looking like, all right, we're going to the Bates Motel. We're going, you know, the House of Horror. We're going somewhere, Joey. Get on the hayride,
and you'd be watching the YouTube videos back in 2004 before YouTube video was really big. You'd be watching the videos about what the walkthrough looks like. Quick.
I know we're getting off subject here, but do you remember how your dad set me up one time with my video camera? Do you remember that? Going through a haunted house?
No.
Ask your dad about this. I know we're getting off subject, but this is so funny here, Joey. Ask your dad about this. We went to the Bates Motel and they had this haunted house. And you remember during football, Joey, we always videotaped every game for our collection, you know, keep our memories. Well, I had my video camera, and your dad was behind me, and we were walking through this haunted house. It was so dark, and the guy was like, "Hey, you need to turn your camera off." I'm like, "Look, it's my camera. I'll do what I want." I'm walking through the thing, and your dad was behind me. He was like, "Yo, Mo, listen, go ahead. It's scary in here. Don't worry about it. Keep going." Your dad had his hand on my shoulder, so I was like, "All right, Joe, you with me?" He's like, "Yeah." Joe, like 2 minutes into it, your dad stops. He stays in the beginning, and I'm
Oh, I
walking,
heard about this, and he switched out.
and this dude was like, I don't know, this creature thing was behind me, and I thought it was your dad with his hand on my shoulder. Joey, I turned around, and I was like, "Mo, you there?" And he didn't say anything. As soon as the light came on, it was just a
Yeah,
character. Dropped my camera. I screamed. I was like, "Mo, where the hell are
yeah.
you?" There's Charles right there,
We'll have
Mo.
to try to get him on one week. We'll have to get him on one week. Yeah, yo, Mo. Charles knows about it. But it's funny,
Yeah.
Charles on the show. Before we end the show, because I got to go to Six Flags. But before we end the show, I wanted to touch base on Charles. Next week, Charles does 2 podcasts. He has his new podcast coming up, the Charles Norman Show, where he covers anything, wide range of topics. And then he also has a football show. Charles, it's called Bump and Grind, right? The football show. You check that out. They have a Twitter page and stuff like that. But him and his friends do that. And so next week, me and Charles are lifelong wrestling fans. We're gonna have a wrestling show where we just talk about some of our favorite memories and stuff like that. So it's gonna be me and Charles. Paul might pop on to ask us some questions, but Paul has a procedure the night before, so he's gonna be a little jet lag. So
Yeah,
me
yeah, I
and Charles on the
appreciate that,
show.
yeah, thanks for tuning in and hopping on next week. I greatly appreciate it. You're more than welcome anytime. I love listening to people talk about wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, neck procedure next week to go in Philadelphia, so I'll be a little bit out of it. Here's the thing right here. Bump and run is what it's
Bump
called.
and run. I said bump and grind. I don't know why I was saying bump and grind for a football show. But yeah, and
Joey,
the funny thing about Charles is we'll be having like a doctor on our show because Charles is like a month away from getting his doctorate degree. So we'll have Dr. Norman on our show.
Nice, that is awesome.
Yeah. So
But
check us out next week.
You said you're going to Great Adventure Day, Six Flags over in Jackson, right?
Yes.
Wow, that is awesome. Well, speaking of trips, Joey, I mean, is there any kind of trips out there that we might want to take in the future here?
Yeah, definitely. So recently, I'm sure you've heard about it on all of our shows. I'm going to plug it until no end. I recently become a Disney travel agent under the Mr. M House of Travel branch company. They're located in New Jersey. So if you ever want to plan a trip to Disney, hit me up. It costs you nothing to use my services. It relieves the headache of having to book your trip. I can book your trip. I can book your meals. I can book your tickets. I can reserve your park days. Let me know, and I will assist you with everything.
Okay.
It's like I said, it doesn't cost you anything. Disney pays me. Why not use my services, and I can book everything for you, and you don't have to worry about any of the planning. Because planning for Disney is like a second job. You have to worry about 45 days before to get your meals. You have to worry about your tickets. Now you have to worry about getting into the parks and reserving those. So if you need anything, message me. You can find me on Facebook, Joseph Wood /Mr. M House of Travel, and I'll be able to help you. But to close the show today, like I said, next week we're gonna have a great show. Beginning of the show, we'll talk about Forbidden Door. Then after that, we're just gonna talk wrestling and just kind of have like a discussion type thing.
Okay.
Well, I want to plug our shows before we leave, though, Paul. Tuesday nights, me and you get to look at our ugly mugs again. 10 p.m. Fight Club 215.
Bye, guys.
Wednesday nights.
Wednesday night we have 215 boys at 8 p.m. 9 p.m.
I don't really like to say it. I don't really like to say it that much, but
Thursday night we have Matt Laurel, 4 from Locker Room Pass at 8 p.m. talking all sports out there. And on Friday nights we have Zach Harris podcast. He's with 980 Fox Sports, giving you audio clips of all sports and knowledge out there. It's at Fox 980 Sports. Saturday, of course, you're watching Out of the Ring Wrestling here. And tonight at 8 p.m. for all you sports fans out there that want to talk some Vegas sports, we have Vegas Rob, a.k.a. Rob Hefner, talking all Vegas sports with the Vegas sports scene. So definitely check us out on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. We're everywhere out there. Just hit that like, share, subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. Get that name out there because this is all we do. We do it for fun.
Check out Twitter and stuff. Check out our Twitter page today. Out of the Ring _215. I'll be posting some pictures of all the action that me and Joseph see today at the event today. So I'll be posting pictures. I'll try to get them on our Facebook page also, but I'll definitely be posting some pictures of the meet and greet with the wrestlers and stuff like that.
Awesome.
Let's check us out. We'll see you next week. We'll see everyone Tuesday night for Fight Club. If you're interested in UFC, check us out. But have a great weekend, everyone.
All right. See you guys next week.